Hello everybody, this is Johns Hopkins with Baltimore Heritage, and we're back with another of our 5-Minute Histories videos. And today we're going to talk about the St. Francis Academy. It's behind me. I'm here on East Chase Street, just a few blocks east of the Jones Falls. St. Francis got its start in 1828. It is the oldest predominantly African-American Catholic high school in the country. Pretty neat. Obviously a lot of history here. We're going to start our history on June 13th, 1828. That's when a woman named Elizabeth Clarisse Lange started a school in Fells Point. The purpose of her school was to, quote, provide a Christian education to colored children. This was back in 1828. That school went on to become St. Francis, and Elizabeth Clarisse Lange went on to become Mother Mary Lange, who is now up for sainthood in the Catholic Church. So pretty exceptional. Let's start with her story. Where did she come from? She was born around 1789 in Haiti. By 1800, she and her family had fled during the Haitian Revolution. Her family was affluent enough to give her an education. That obviously carried far for her. When she came to America, but by 1813, she landed in Baltimore. What she found in Baltimore was a large free black population, the largest in the country at the time. She found also a large population of people of African Caribbean descent who spoke French. So she fit in pretty well there as well. She also found a number of Protestant churches had started schools for African American kids. Sharp Street Church, 1802, Bethel, 1812, and St. James in 1824. What she did not find was a public school for African American kids. There was no free public school for African American kids back then. And so she decided to step into that void and started the school in her home in Fells Point. She did not have any organization, a church or otherwise, to affiliate with. She just did it on her own, clearly a woman of initiative. She did have a partner, a woman named Mary Lange. Pretty soon after they started, just a few months, they met up with a Sulpician priest named James Joubert. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Joubert was also from Haiti, also had fled during the Revolution, and was also teaching African American kids. He was teaching them Catholic catechism out of St. Mary's Church in Seton Hill. But he was having a problem because the kids he was trying to teach couldn't even read. So he reached out to Elizabeth Lange for help in teaching the kids to read so that he could then teach them catechism. And that relationship blossomed. Pretty soon, he decided what the church needed was a new sisterhood, a new women's religious order. He convinced Archbishop William Whitfield to do this. He supported it. And on July 2nd, 1829, the first sisters took vows in what was to become the Oblate Sisters of Providence. The first three sisters were Elizabeth Lange, who then became Mary Lange, Mother Mary Lange, Marie Lange, her friend, and then an adult student named Almedide Duquesne. Those were the first three sisters of the Oblate Sisters of Providence. This was the first women's religious order, the first women's sisterhood of women of African descent in the world. So pretty neat. Mary Lange became the first Mother Superior. So she is also the first Mother Superior of African descent of any Catholic organization in the world. The focus was on the school. They kept the school, but they changed its name to the Oblate School for Colored Girls. They also taught vocational skills to adults and founded a home for orphan children. Mother Mary Lange dies in 1882. In 1991, the process began to make her a saint. Apparently that takes a little while. It is still working its way through the channels, but it's still very much active. I will note that in just a few weeks ago, 2021, the first new Catholic school in Baltimore in 60 years opened up off of Martin Luther King Boulevard, named the Mother Mary Lange School. So really neat there. Today, the Oblate Sisters, just to wrap up with them, they're still doing great things, working all over the world from their headquarters in Halethorpe, and still running this school here, St. Francis, behind me. So let's turn to the school. The school was housed first in Fells Point and then at St. Mary's. It bopped around a little bit. It was on George Street in Seton Hill, and then a street called Richmond Street in Mount Vernon, which we now know today is Reed Street. Its first day of school in 1828, it had 9 students, but by November, it had doubled the number of students. Those students ranged in age from 8 to 20, and they included kids who had been born enslaved and then, however, had gained their freedom. The first curriculum was pretty rigorous. Let me read it to you. It included religion, reading, English, writing, and French. It also included washing and needlework, but by about 1850, they had ditched needlework and substituted geography. So really from the very beginning, a very rigorous curriculum. And the enterprise itself, teaching African American girls, was really exceptional in almost every way. This was at a time when African American kids had almost no opportunities for education, let alone African American girls. This was when the Catholic Church was still highly segregated, with masses said separately, and African American congregants often worshiping in the basement, if there at all. In 1850, the school had between 100 and 200 kids in any given year, and by 1853, it had changed its name to the St. Francis School for Colored Girls. St. Francis is a saint from Rome in the late 1300s, early 1400s, who was known for organizing women to minister to the poor. After the Civil War, the school surged and they needed a bigger space. In 1871, they moved in here. In 1974, they began admitting boys, and so today it is a co-ed high school for boys and girls. They continue their rigorous academic curriculum, but are also known nationally for their highly competitive sports teams, especially football and basketball. Let me wrap up with noting a few of their sort of most well-known alums. Let me start, of course, with Billie Holiday, the jazz singer who we call our own here. Calvin Keenan, a songwriter whose songs are sung by the likes of Jamie Foxx and others. Angel McCautry, a 2-time Olympic basketball champion who played in the WNBA for the Atlanta Heat. Devin Phillips, a professional football player who played with the Arizona Cardinals. Devin Gray, a basketball player who played in professionally with San Diego and Houston, among others. And somebody many of us may know, Corey Yao, who's the producer of MSNBC's Morning Joe show. But I'm going to conclude my final words, 2 final words are with my personal favorite alum, a woman who I've been proud to call a friend, Arlene Fisher, who, if you've ever done work in Lafayette Square or Harlem Park in West Baltimore, you know Arlene. She has done so much for that neighborhood, and she's been a board member of Baltimore Heritages for almost that entire time. So thank you, Arlene. And I will end by saying, if you are an alum of St. Francis, or you've got family members or loved ones who are, please drop us a note. We would love to hear from you. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.